right, welcome back, everyone. I have a special guest on. I got Caesar here from kind of the ORAT community. I got to meet him at the One Rental at a Time Vegas event, and we connected because we have a mutual friend. I met, also interviewed Nicholas from Orange Juice Properties. So welcome, Caesar.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I saw you. Actually, I also saw your interview on Zuber's channel, and that was very fun to watch and hear a little bit of your story.
Yeah.
But why don't you refresh my audience a little bit about your backstory?
So I'm W-2 employee. I'm very normal. No superpowers. I just started investing because 2020 was you couldn't do anything, right? And you connect with people. And while connecting with Ovi, um, we discussed real estate, and we found out that we both wanted to do the same. I've been listening to Bigger Pockets, and I'm getting a lot of information from Bigger Pockets, right? But I think the main starting point was when I found Zuber, because Zuber gave you focus, right? It's buy and hold, single family, and that's it. If you listen to Bigger Pockets, they discuss a lot of topics. And so when I talked to Owie, and we tried to encourage each other just to start doing it.
Yeah. So how'd you come across One Rent at a Time or Michael Zuber's channel, though?
Uh, so I had my first property. I bought my first property back in 2009, and I wasn't really investing, but I was house hacking, right? So I was trying to uh, live a cheap life. So I had a roommate. She helped me pay with my mortgage, and my idea was to pay off that condo right away. So I was able to pay that condo in like 15, 12 years or something. And then afterwards, I was looking at a new purchase because it's a condo, right? I wanted to buy a bigger house. Um, and so I was able to purchase a house. And then while checking if I'm doing things correctly, I found Zuber. And Zuber talked about finding average, finding what a great deal is, or finding what a good deal is, right? And that idea that maybe I can do this, right? And then seeing my equity grow, that made me think maybe there's more to this than I can improve on, right? Maybe I'm doing things wrong, or maybe I'm not really investing. I didn't think I was really investing. I knew house prices would go up, but I didn't look at cash flow because I was living in the house. I didn't really think cash flow was there. And then when I found Zuber, I think, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could add more to my portfolio, right? And then 2020 was, we still had very, very low rates. In 2020, Zuber said to buy a house so that you could use the inflation to get rich, right? So interest rates were low, and I bought my third property, and my third property and my fourth property. That's all thanks to Zuber, because I wouldn't have done that if I wasn't listening to him.
Interesting. Your story is very, very similar a little bit to mine, where my a condo I purchased was around 2008,
Mm-hmm.
2009. And everyone always refers to kind of that period as this, the great financial crisis. But so did you though at that time kind of notice what was happening around you in the economy?
Well, yeah, because I was looking to purchase in 2006.
Okay.
Uh, but then I was scared. It was my first major purchase, right? I was scared. Prices were okay. Uh, but when things suddenly went down or crashed, I took that as a sign that it's time to buy something.
Oh,
And just to reiterate, right? I mean, what I do is I buy homes on a personal loan, so primary. So everything I bought with the intention of living in it. So the condo, I lived in it. The next house, I lived in it. And the advantage, of course, is I get very low rates.
nice. So kind of but were you following the, like, for me, I had no clue what was going on around me. Like I was like in a bubble, or maybe oblivious to what was going around. But as far as like, the economy, like you're saying, housing prices crashing, things like that, like I had no idea what was going on around me. Like,
So I was. So like I said, I was trying to purchase back in 2006. Uh, but then I was scared. I mean, I don't think I have enough money because back then people give you money, right? I mean, if you just put 5% down, and in addition to that, I just moved to the States. I grew up in the Philippines. I migrated to the States for work. And so I wasn't really confident that I'm able to pay off a house 30 years. If you think about 30 years, just purchase, it's a big purchase, right? It's scary. But once you get to know how to do stuff, how to invest, by listening to guys like you or Zuber, right? If you learn a lot, then it gives you confidence to do things.
so you also touched on that you were trying to focus on paying it down quickly or paying off the
Hmm.
mortgage. Is that like from an upbringing, your parents? Like, is that kind of that financial background that they were
Yeah,
telling you to do? Okay.
yeah. I got that from my mom. Uh, so I considered my mom would have the similar mindset as Dave Ramsey, right? Debt is bad.
No, like I said, our paths are very exactly. My mom
Hmm.
is more like the Dave Ramsey, and my dad is a little bit more of like the, I'm not gonna say Robert Kiyosaki mindset, but
Uh-huh.
a little bit more of that take a risk,
Yep.
leverage.
Yep.
But
Same here.
yeah, my mom is totally Dave Ramsey, and that's what I struggle with a little bit now with
Yeah.
her. But
Yeah. Same here.
that's
So
not wrong too, right? It's not wrong, right?
yeah,
But it's just
you,
definitely a
you
lot
choose your
slower
own path,
process.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's interesting.
It's funny because my dad was talking when we talked before. Uh, my dad would always tell me that he could have invested something in something, but it was more important for him to have my mom happy.
This is like it's like I'm talking to myself, like I'm hearing myself talk, because that's exactly what like my dad says all the time too. So this is funny, but yeah. So how did you transition? Like how did you transition to kind of where you're at now, where you're trying to scale? Like you're saying, you're taking on a little more leverage. I mean, not being risky, but you're
Hmm.
taking on a little more leverage.
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, right? Uh, if if the numbers work, if you know what you're doing, if you know how to underwrite, then the numbers would give you confidence to tell you what you're doing is right. And and I think continuously learning how to underwrite, how to what's happening in the market, then it helps.
So how does you and Oe kind of, because it seems that you guys have different little bit strategies.
Hmm.
So do you guys complement each other? Do you guys like bounce ideas off each other? How does that work?
We do. And so OE has been wholesaling for a while now, or trying to wholesale for a while now. I think last year, and I've never done that. And so last week when I went to the Deal Champs event, it was about wholesaling, and I bounced some ideas off OE. Uh, but I think the biggest part there is encouragement, right? That OE would tell me that you can do this. I mean, this is how you could do this, or this is another way you could think of it. So just bouncing off things with him and making sure that I sound sane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what's so amazing about, this whole real estate thing. It's such a great community.
Hmm.
And like you kind of touched on just a little bit. I mean, there's so many different ways in real estate, and you just got to find your path. And there's no right or wrong way.
Hmm.
It's just kind of finding what fits, your style better, your goals better. Like even like me, I'm focusing a little bit more on the social media side, trying to connect with different investors, promote what they're doing. And, you're going maybe that wholesaling route, but we're all trying to end up at the same place. It's just
Yeah.
we're taking different paths to do it.
A-
So I like that. Yeah.
and what's amazing with the community is everyone's so helpful, right? So, uh, sometimes, like, so last week I was at the Deals Champs event, right? And I was sitting down with someone talking to him. It's a very normal conversation. And then all of a sudden I think this guy has this many properties, this much cash flow from these properties. And but he looks so humble. I mean, you wouldn't think that they give you time, right? And it's so refreshing where people just share.
Yeah.
And I just got married last year, and I'm starting to bring my wife to these events, and she feels the same way. So everyone was just so humble and helpful.
Yeah, that was my big takeaway from the Michael Zuber's One Rental at a
Uh-huh.
Time event in Vegas. I just really felt it was more like a family
Hmm.
atmosphere. And, oh, yeah, I mean, I never met him in person, and I only seen, I interviewed him, but I seen your guys interview with Michael Zuber, and it was just like, yeah, we just started talking, and it was just like I've known you guys for years, and it was amazing, getting to connect with all these different people. And I think that's what's like you touched on. It's just a different environment. It seems like it's
Yeah,
not like some other, I don't know, even crypto has a different vibe to it with the people in the community and things like that. So the real estate space is definitely, everyone, it seems to me, is like trying to help someone else, or promote someone else, and it's just building
yeah.
relationships with people. Yeah. So what are you working
And
on
some
now? Oh yeah,
and
go
just to
ahead.
go back a bit, right? And I think it's because it's so simple that people can actually. It's simple but not easy, right? So it's like what Zuber would tell losing weight. It's easy. It's simple but not easy.
Oh, totally
And
agree.
that's something I need to do to work on as well. Losing weight.
Oh, well,
But
I think like
but
you're touching on, right? There's a lot of things in life that on paper or whatnot, it's simple.
yeah.
And
And you don't need a superpower, right? You just need to be consistent at doing things. So like when people tell you they share everything, it's just a matter of you taking action and doing what they tell you consistently.
I like that you said it. See, I have all these superheroes behind me,
Hmm.
and you're trying to tell me that there's no superpowers involved, and you just got to be an ordinary person. So with that being said, like, what would you say though is something that helps you, find success in real estate? Like you're saying, you don't have any superpowers,
Hmm.
but what trait do you think you have that's helping you succeed in this?
So I think I have two. One is I'm always trying to learn. And when I try to learn something, I think I can discern which one is for me, which one is not. Uh, and so I think that's very important because with with real estate, I think you do have to have focus, right? It's not doing everything normal. I think you have to do one thing very good. I mean, I think my I'm able to focus on what I can do. And second, I think I'm very observant. So I think one and two, learning and being observant, observing people who's been successful and learning from them, right? I think they go hand in hand.
Great points. I like that learning part of it, because I have a friend, a coworker, who I'm super proud that he took the leap and he started investing out of state. He started buying some
Hmm.
rental properties, but it's like he stopped from, it was like that was the pinnacle. He bought some properties out of state, and that was it for him. And it's like,
Hmm.
it's almost like you just put your money in a savings account, and you're not trying to grow, or learn
Yeah.
what, kind of learn from this and improve. And it was just kind of like, I'm kind of dumbfounded now. I'm kind of like, like what do you, I mean, I'm glad you took that leap, but
Uh-huh.
you just, it
Yeah.
basically you just stopped, right? And so I'm kind of
Yeah,
frustrated
but
with him.
like we said, everyone at his own pace, right? So
Yeah.
like us, I started 2009. I bought something. I wasn't investing. I could have done a lot of things differently and maybe made more money, but you have to do things your way, right? So maybe if you you keep his circle, I mean, you keep him in your circle, maybe you influence him to start thinking again, or maybe to encourage him to, hey, there's other things that you could do, right? Because I think that's the power of the community, right? We want to help to show people how we did things, and maybe they can learn how we do things and maybe improve on how we did things.
I like that. I like that. So it sounds like, you want to get your story out there, and you want to help others, and you want to let them know that it doesn't take superpowers and it's possible, right? So,
Yeah.
so, when are you coming out with a YouTube channel, or when are you going to start, putting out a course or doing something to help others also get started?
so so for one, I'm actually really shy. I don't like social media. I posted very few on my Facebook page. Uh, I don't want to be out there. I'm a very private person, and I don't really want to be out there. But just seeing how we can help others and how we can help you as well, right? So I think I got this from Jason Pritchard uh, in one of his boot camp with Zuber. I think he discussed just having social media, and on the Zuber event, Millennial Mike, right? Just have a YouTube page, tell people you're buying, and so I want to be there. It's difficult for me. I'm not that person. Even posting on social media, it's difficult for me, but I'll keep doing it because I think we want to help people and we want to tell our story. Going to your question, uh, with regards to when I would start my YouTube, I already thought of a name.
Oh,
I would, so I live in an inland empire, and I would call it Caesar's Empire.
oh, I like that.
And
Yeah. All
so my
right.
wife already helped me pick out a logo, and so we're slowly getting there. It's just that it life gets busy. I just had my family, my sister over. I had 4 kids in the house, um, and then work W-2, right?
Mm.
You can't let that go. It's helping you pay bills.
I so I interviewed Justin Canberra a few weeks ago, and same thing. He has a great story, great journey. He's retired, trying to help others. And we called him out, and he did start
Uh-huh.
his YouTube channel. But he is retired, so he has a little more time. So, like you said, you have a W-2, but you already have a name and everything picked out. So, how about
Hmm.
what if we go with like 3 months? You think you can get your first video out there in 3 months?
Yeah. Yeah,
All
let's
right.
go for it.
All right. So what that will be what July 26th. So we're gonna put that out there. What Caesar's Empire. Oh, we better keep maybe so nobody
I,
steals it.
actually,
Well,
actually, I should call it because originally my name is uh, it's Cesar, right? It's
oh,
his Hispanic name. But
okay.
when I moved to the States, people kept me calling people kept calling me Caesar. So
Okay.
it stuck with me, and I like it. Maybe now I should call it Caesar's Empire.
No, I don't well, you do what you think is right. I like Caesar's Empire though. I think that
Yeah.
one is catchy. But yeah, you do what you think is right. But I want a sneak peek of this logo after though. You have a logo? Okay. I want to see
Yeah.
that. All right, cool, man. Well, you have some great information. I mean, so what do you? So you're looking at wholesaling possibly, right? Are
Yeah.
you working on any deals right now for yourself? Are you anything in the pipeline?
Well, I just purchased the house last December, or me and my wife just purchased, and we actually just moved into the house last month. And so our old house, we're still making that rent ready. It should be ready for rent within a couple of weeks.
Oh,
So I'm busy with that. Um, but yeah,
so kind
uh,
of right before the Vegas event, you guys purchased a
yep,
property.
yep.
Oh, okay.
That was it. And so expenses are piling up, right? So
Yeah.
that's why it's so important to have the reserves. I think it's more evident now than ever that you do need to have reserves, especially now because we're paying for two mortgages without rent, right?
Hmm.
Uh, and so right now my focus is to just learn that, which is why I'm trying to do wholesaling. With interest rates being high, I would foresee that it would be more difficult to find deals on market, and so I want to get to the sellers directly. I just go around my neighborhood and let them know that I'm buying stuff.
I love that. I love that because like you're saying, the markets always change. There's always something going on. And sometimes you just gotta, figure out a solution or pivot a little bit and that's what you're doing. Like you said, you're looking down this wholesaling route and seeing if this is
Mm-hmm.
gonna help you find deals. And like I said, I'm focusing more on the social media side, but there's so many different ways and I love that. And like I said, this community is here to
Yeah.
bounce ideas off of and help each other. And like you said, they're always doing host or trying hosting. There's other people that I know that are trying the social media. So there's so many people that we can reach out to and just kind of get more advice or bounce ideas off
Yeah.
us. So I love that. But you know, let's kind of wrap things up pretty soon. But you said you found Zuber. You're watching Bigger Pockets. Was there any like maybe book or anything that helped
Yeah.
you along this journey?
Yeah. There's three books. Uh, the One Thing. Uh, you know that book, right? I forgot his name. Keller, from
Oh
Keller
yeah, yeah,
Williams.
yeah,
Yeah.
Keller, yeah.
So the One Thing. Uh, ma, what do you call that? The Best Year Ever by Michael Hyatt,
Okay.
and Compound Effect.
Ah,
So Compound Effect was my favorite, and the One Thing. But Michael Hyatt is there. I still listen to some of the things that they say. Sometimes I just listen to the books after a year or so, just
yeah.
repeatedly listen just to ingrain some of the things. But
I
those three
love.
books, I think they're life changing.
Yeah, that I always joke about it too, and it's bad. I mean, but I never used to read books after probably college. It was,
Yeah.
you know, but now I'm just like, yeah, podcasts, reading books, different things, and it's
Hmm.
just such a life-changing event for me. And it's like I said, I probably missed out on a lot of opportunities, but I'm glad what I'm doing now. And like you said, we're just trying to help other
Yeah.
people realize that yeah, you can just get started, and there's no
Hmm.
superpowers involved, and it's just finding your path. And I love that. But
And,
so
and and
yeah,
those three things just focus on doing things consistently, right? Those three books.
yeah, we talked about that a little bit off camera before that. You asked me about why I get up so early and all these kind of crazy things. But yeah, it's just kind of being consistent, right? And it's just
Yeah.
finding what works for you. And I try to accommodate a lot of these people that I'm interviewing because they're in different time zones. So that's just my consistencies, right? I was waking up early in a routine, working out first, watching the daily financial news and things like that, and just doing kind of a consistent basis. But yeah, I think that's super helpful though, right? It helps you, and I think being consistent also kind of makes you efficient or saves time, right? Because you're not,
Hmm.
like I think it's what Zuckerberg and I forget who was it. Was it Jeff Bezos? Like maybe they wear the same clothes or the
Yeah.
same,
Yep.
not every day, but like that same style, right? So they don't
Yeah.
have to think about what
Think
they're gonna
about it. Yeah.
wear, and it's just kind of this routine, and it just saves them all this time, right? So yeah, I think
And
that's
and,
gonna
and
be
sometimes, I mean, if you think about that, people already explain to you their thought process. Sometimes, and you read books, right? And sometimes it's not what you know, right? It's what you would implement from what you know, right? Because like reading books, I think like you, right? I never read books after college, but Bigger Pockets when they talk about favorite books, right? That's one of their questions. It just started me. A lot of people kept telling me throughout the years, read books, read books, read books. I never did until I did one day. And when you read, you try to implement stuff from what you read. That's why I don't really like to read until now. I don't
Yeah.
read a lot, but I read or I read or listen to the same books over and over just to make sure that you implement what they're saying in those books.
Yeah. This is like talking to myself. I feel like I'm talking to myself here. Like I'm hearing all these, like I said, you didn't like to read, and your mom, your dad, same kind of
Mm-hmm.
mindset, same kind of, but I love that. And you started with a condo, you scaled up. But
Yeah.
yeah, I love what you're doing. I'm glad we got to connect. I'm glad I got to meet you in person in Vegas, and I hope to, meet you in Vegas again next year, see you in Vegas again next
Yeah,
year.
for
Um,
sure.
yeah, I don't know if you heard, but when I talked to Zuber, I tried to convince him to maybe have an event in Hawaii. So maybe we'll have a ORAD event in Hawaii. But yeah, so
Yeah.
where can people find you right now then? Before you're
So
since you're
right now,
flat out.
so right now I'm just on Instagram. Caesar Cruz the third. So CESARCRUZII.
All right. Well, anyone reach out to him. He's always willing to help, give advice, talk about what he's doing, and also stay tuned for his YouTube channel that'll be out in 3 months, and we'll get that
Caesar's
out there.
Empire.
Yeah. Well, thanks for doing this, man, and we'll catch up later, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
My
Thanks,
pleasure.
man. Bye.
Bye.